Hello, this is Attorney Tina Patterson, Principal Attorney of Patterson Justice Council, PLLC, coming to you from headquarters here in Detroit, Michigan. Now, today it's come onto my heart to share this message with you because as we come to the close of another year, with so much going on in the world happening literally every day, each day is truly precious and each day is one we cannot afford to take for granted. So with so much going on, I just had some things that were on my mind that I wanted to get out of my head in hopes that it would help someone else. And I really believe it will. And I say all this to inspire, to encourage, to motivate, not to inspire fear. The reality is when it comes to these issues, a lot of us don't like to talk about it because it's taboo, because it's scary, because we think bad things are going to happen if we talk about undesirable things. But that's only if we're talking about it with the fear like it's going to happen. I talk about these things because so much of it is inevitable in life. But if we are better prepared for it, then we will be able to tackle those challenges when we meet them. Not we're going to bring them to us, but when they come to us, we'll be ready. So that's how I speak in this context. All right. So just a caveat before we get into it. So obviously, the reality is that none of us is guaranteed tomorrow. None of us is guaranteed a certain set number of years for life. Death is going to hit at any time, any place. It hits at age 30, just like it will hit at age 90, just like it will hit at age 6 months, just like it can hit at age 60. It doesn't matter. Okay. And that is just the reality of life. And again, not to be morbid, but let's just be honest so that we can have a good conversation on preparation. Now, we can't be prepared for something that we're not honest about. Okay. As an attorney, a counselor, I'm always telling my clients ahead of time. I ask all these questions and I ask for transparency and honesty and confidentiality. We'll keep it private, but I need to know these things so that I can better prepare you for what it is you're looking for. Not because I want to know, not because I'm nosy, and not because I'm going to share information. I don't do that, but I do need as much information as possible to better prepare you for what's ahead and to better prepare you for what you want. So that's why I say that, okay? So again, obviously, when it comes to death, it's inevitable. It's going to happen to us. And like I said, I'm human too. Okay, so in addition to being a human being who has dealt with close deaths in my family and my life, I regularly deal with this reality and the preparation for this reality in my professional life as a practicing attorney, as a counselor, on a daily basis. So I'm not insensitive to the issue and my intentions are not morbid, but I am very hyper aware of this inevitable reality. And because of this, I have a different vantage point. So I say that I kind of view this issue with eagle eyes, even though I need glasses to drive. And I'm an excellent driver, by the way. Okay, a master driver. You're always going to be safe with me. When it comes to this issue, I don't even need glasses. Okay, I have eagle eyes. I'm spotting things, looking far ahead and above what a lot of people can see when it comes to this issue, because I'm looking for the next move. I know what's coming, so I'm better preparing myself for the steps ahead. And with that context today, I wanted to ask a few questions to just ponder on this subject. Just think on it. Think on it with urgency, meaning you're going to do something about it, but in a hopeful and inspiring way. And with those thoughts, I also want to give you some master keys to unlock some of the answers to these issues. So 2 in particular that are going to really challenge you to think about things you probably have thought of before, but maybe not in this way and maybe not as far out and as stretched as you've thought in the past, okay? So before we get into the first master key, a little bit of context there. Again, 2023 is almost done. We're in the final month of the year. We're in December, the first full week of December. So with that being said, because the year is not over yet, what are you going to do with the rest of it? What are you going to do with the rest of 2023? You know, I asked this question in a post, I think December 1st, right? A few days ago when the month started. And I didn't get any responses, right? But people saw. And it could be perhaps because people haven't thought about it in that way. They know that it's the last of the year, but again, we we just live life and all these things happen. We get caught up in the routine, day to day, the minutia. We don't think about bigger issues like, oh, wow. Instead of thinking, oh, I got to go to work. I have to take the kids to school. I got to do this. I got to do that. No, think beyond that. Okay. So 30 days or less left. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with the rest of the year? And then, as if that's not thinking bigger, which it is, right? Cast the net, but then let's start to draw in the catch. What are you going to do with the rest of the day today? What are you going to do? This is how we kind of have to start thinking about daily life. Think out and then come back. Be future focused, because the realities of death are inevitable. But there are also promises in life that you can enjoy. Okay, it doesn't have to be awful. That's not true. So again, that's where this first master key comes into place. I kind of already said it, but I'm going to say it in this way. The first master key when it comes to life in this context is start with the end in mind. So like I said, let's cast that net out. 30 days out, rest of the month. What are we going to do with it? Then let's work backwards. What are we going to do with each day? What are we going to do each day that's going to support that 30-day goal? And this has been on my mind a lot this year. It's not something that's really new to me, but it's something that I've thought of in a new way this year, more than I ever have before in life. Think way out ahead and then work your way back. Okay, so for instance, I think about this in the context of estate planning, which is one of my legal areas of expertise. When it comes to estate planning, when I meet with my clients, I don't just tell them, hey, will, trust, power of attorney, like all this legal stuff. I don't start with that. I obviously want to know more about them, so I ask them about themselves, but I start with the end in mind. What is the ultimate goal? What is your ultimate objective? What are you hoping to achieve with this conversation? What are you hoping to achieve with this, consultation, with these legal services? What is it that will satisfy you? What is it that you're really looking for? You're not looking for a will or trust. You're not looking for a power of attorney. You're looking for something beyond that, but that's the vehicle that's going to get you there. So what is that ultimate goal? And some questions to kind of think about, what that could be is, for instance, when it comes to estate planning, is the ultimate objective to leave a massive inheritance to your children's children? Is it to establish a trust fund for them to go to college? Is it to leave a foundation or a charitable legacy to your favorite organization, to your church, right? Is it to leave behind the lessons of the family? What lessons do you want to leave behind? A lot of times those intangibles get completely lost when it comes to estate planning, but that is some of the most important stuff you can leave behind. The family values, the lessons, how we do things, right? These rules of order. And you see, we need them when it comes to society today. It's crazy, right? But these are the questions that we need to ask when it comes to the ultimate objective. And again, I ask these questions because I have to go in there deep. This is what I do. This is how I prepare my clients. This is how I prepare myself. But I don't know if enough people hear this on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so what is it? What is that thing that once you get it, that's the move, right? That's what I'm satisfied with. That's where I can stop. And guess what? Even if you don't have those things now, you must desire to have them in the end. Okay, so a lot of times we're discouraged because we think we don't have everything we have to leave right now. But starting with the end in mind, starting with the ultimate objective in mind, even if you don't have it today, is going to encourage you and it's going to motivate you, literally move. You can hear move and motivate, right? It's going to move you to work towards those goals in the days, the weeks, the months, the years to come, okay? This way, again, going back to the reality of life, the precious nature of life, if you're moving towards these goals, your time is not wasted. Your life is not wasted, okay? But instead, it's invested. It's invested in the goals of tomorrow. Life is what we want to make of it while we have it, but we can only do that. We can only do what we want with it while we're still here. Because the reality is, again, just being honest, once we're gone, it's too late. We're not getting that time back. We're not coming back. You know, we're not going to be physically resurrected to do it over again. It's not going to happen. And since we don't know what is going to happen, we don't know when it's going to happen, we don't know when it's going to be, that's not a reason to live in fear, but it is a reason to stop waiting. Okay? Stop waiting to have everything at once before we make any moves to go get it. Because you just don't know. And again, it's not to inspire or induce any kind of fear. It's to be very honest. Okay? Because on the other side of fear is also faith. So you can either just be afraid and not move, or you can say, you know what? No, I'm believing, right? The faith. I'm believing that I'm going to have these things. I'm going to move toward them no matter what, because I know my time here is limited and I have to make the most of it. Okay. So get moving toward the goal. And if you do, you will reach it. I think about in my daily walks, there have been times where it's cold outside, it's raining, it's snowing. Okay. I don't just walk in the sun, even though that's my favorite. And I always do that. But I get out there when it's snowing, when it's raining, when it's cold, and I'd rather be in the house, you know, or in my office, just relaxed, or even just working. I'd rather be on the computer working, right, inside where it's nice and warm and dry, than out there walking around in the cold and the wet. But once I get moving, I just keep going. And I say, okay, it's not as bad as I thought. I can keep going. Okay, I got a half a mile in. All right, I can get a mile. Or I have a mile and a half. I can go for 2, right? So once you get moving, you're going to stay in motion. And that motion is going to carry you into wherever it is you're trying to go. Like literally, I just told myself this last week on one of my walks. I said, oh, wow, I just got to keep going. So just keep going and you're going to reach that goal. All right. And we'll get into the flip side, right? Because we know life happens, but just keep moving toward the goal. Because the most exciting thing is actually, as you continue moving, your goals will continue growing. So again, with my context of walking, I started out just walking a mile a day. I said, let me just get out here and do a mile a day. But then I realized my regular route was actually a mile and a half. And I said, wow, well, if I can do a mile and a half a day, then I can do 2 miles a day. And so like, that's the new goal. And it's always going to keep growing because you're growing. You're going to grow into something bigger. You might hit the mark. And then because you're so big, you need a bigger mark to go towards, right? You need a bigger goal. So maybe when it comes to, again, estate planning, your goal is to, you know, buy a home and leave it for your children. You got the home, it's nice. And then you see, wow, I did that. Let me buy an investment property, right? So that they can have the passive income that comes into it. And let me make a trust so that the money will flow to there for their benefit, right? Your brain is going to start seeing it can do more once you accomplish more, but you have to keep moving toward it. Okay. So once you keep moving, you will grow and your capacity to gain more will also grow. But again, just start with the end in mind. Don't be afraid that you don't have it all right now. Have the vision in mind, have the desire in mind. And if you set your focus toward that, you'll reach it. Okay. Now, obviously, I'm not pie in the sky. I think you can tell, right? I'm saying very honest things here. So even though you will grow bigger, this doesn't make the journey easier. And that brings us to the other master key that I do want to discuss today, which is one that people struggle with. And I guess that's why they come see me as an attorney, right? And even some attorneys don't like it. But I've learned in this year more than ever to really just embrace all of it is that I am, that I bring to my work. And that is to face the conflict. Master key number 2, push through the pain to get to your prosperity. Okay. So again, so many people, I see this all the time in my practice, and it really disheartens me a lot because I know people are coming here because they need my help because they can't, or they don't have it in them yet to take on these challenges, and they know I will. Okay. And any good attorney that has that, not just aptitude, but the attitude also to take on the fight, because a lot of them they don't have that. All right. So many people, they just stop or don't even try to tackle their goals because they're afraid of the challenge. And, you know, it really hurts me because they think they're keeping the peace by taking the abuse, taking the suffering, taking the bullying, taking the loss, right? Taking the L. They think that's keeping the peace because they don't have to at least fight the conflict, the challenge. But in reality, these actions are killing the peace. They're killing it, I'm telling you. So in the legal context, I've had several cases just within this past year, okay, where there have been property owners, business owners who've owned commercial property here in the city of Detroit, who have been just ticketed repeatedly, frequently, constantly, even mistakenly, wasn't even their responsibility, had been ticketed for stuff they didn't even own. I remember, I'm thinking clearly of one example of an individual repeatedly getting these tickets, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, okay, for the same stuff, for some violations that were 15 years old. This individual was not even an adult 15 years ago, okay? They're in their 30s now. They were like 15, and their city is still trying to get for some 15-year-old tickets when they're 15 years old. Clearly, there's no liability there. It makes no sense, okay? But because the harping, it just keeps happening, right? The challenge is just coming at you, coming at you, coming at you. This person just, they don't want to take on the fight. You know, they don't like the conflict. They're afraid. And that's not the only case I've seen. There's been cases of other business individuals, business owners especially, who've owned commercial property here in the city and have gotten just repeatedly ticketed. And it's been so bad, like the abuse, the fight, the beating up, the bullying, it's been so consistent, they just walk away, right? Thinking that they're keeping the peace because I'm just gonna bow out of the fight, but it's killing their peace. It's killing them. All right, and I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, every battle we know is not worth the fight, but many are. And you know, so much gets eliminated because that individual is unwilling to fight. So because they're scared of the pain, they're scared of the confrontation, they end up in perpetual conflict, honestly, that does not favor them. All right. And it does cost. You might think that you're keeping your peace, but you are really sacrificing your future. You're sacrificing your goals. One thing you're sacrificing is generational prosperity. So again, when it comes to this building owner, there are so many that come to mind. But one that ended up leaving, vacating the building, just didn't want to deal with the issue anymore. The plan was to turn the building into a commercial center for community, right here in the city, and a neighborhood hub to support business owners and provide a space for them to set up shop. That can't happen now because they succumb to the fight. You know, they succumb to the threats, to the bullying. They got pushed out because they didn't want to push back. And now, because they thought they were keeping the peace, they sacrificed a business opportunity, a business hub for so many other business owners, and the neighborhood to thrive on, you know, the economy to create a local economy there. Obviously to provide goods and services for consumers right there in that neighborhood, so they don't have to go far out, because here in the city of Detroit, there's not a lot of retail hubs that are reliable and sustainable in the city itself, particularly in residential areas, okay? So that's all gone now because this owner didn't want to fight. And so when it comes to these kinds of issues, when we think we're keeping the peace, we're really killing it. And we're also killing generational prosperity. Nothing is ever solely about us. What I do is never only about me, ever. If I were to say, oh my goodness, business is too hard, all my clients would be suffering. The clients I have now that have to go get another lawyer, the clients that are looking for me now that can't get me now because it's just too hard. I mean, it's going to be like that. Life is going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be painful. We cannot avoid the realities of the trials and tribulations that we're going to face. And for too many of us, we just throw it in because we just don't want to deal with the pain. But we have to push through it. We have to push through it. It's going to be hard. And I'm not telling you to take abuse and unnecessary, you know, violence or anything like that. Don't do that. But when it comes to something that you know you have this heart for, you have this vision for, and you know you can make it happen, and you know you want it to happen, don't be afraid when challenges show up, because that often means you're going in the right direction. Challenges come to test your strength, okay? There is a book, a verse in the book of Proverbs that says, if thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. Proverbs 24:10. And I often repeat that to myself when things seem like they're challenging, but they're really not. Your strength has to rise to the occasion, okay? Your dream has to rise to the occasion. When it comes to the area of estate planning, your vision has to rise to the occasion. It's going to be hard trying to find a property. It's going to be hard trying to, again, start a business that's going to be worth millions, that you can, invest in other companies and build this big, massive empire. That's going to be hard. There's going to be challenges there. But that doesn't mean you just give up because you don't want to face the conflict. You don't want to confront the challenge. You have to, you really have to. And I'm saying that like from here because that's something that's never been an issue for me. And I've gotten a lot of flack, if you will, for it from people who are close, right? That don't understand it, and that's fine. But the reality is when people need somebody to fight for them, they call me. When people need somebody to construct some kind of plan for them and walk them through it and guide them through it, they call me because I'm prepared for it, because I don't back down. Even if it's a battle that we can take another strategy on, or if it's a battle that, you know what, this isn't one we need to take on, we're still going to fight it if we need to. And as far as we need to, okay, we can use wisdom as to when to stop, but we can't let fear keep us from starting, okay? So again, all of this, because there is one reality, one trial, one tribulation that we will all face, cannot avoid it. It's the most certain thing in life other than change, and that is death, okay? We must be prepared to face these realities. We have to be. The more prepared we are, the smoother the transition will be for those we love the most, all right? And that includes that second master key, push through the pain. A lot of people, when it comes to estate planning, they don't do it because they have the pain of thinking that it's going to happen to them soon. Or, family conflict. I don't want to tell so-and-so because I really don't want to leave them something. I don't want them to be offended. It's going to cause conflict. I'd rather leave the conflict out of it. No, the conflict is going to show up for you if you try to leave it alone when it comes to family issues. I'm telling you from personal experience. I'm telling you from professional experience of what I'm dealing with right now. Okay. And you can go back and watch some of my YouTube videos that I've done about this, because we've talked a lot about how you have to tackle it head on. You have to have the tough talks with family members. You have to let them know what your intentions are. I do this with my family. You have to let them know, whether it's good or bad, what is going on. You must ask the uncomfortable questions, just like I ask my clients, just like I ask family. If they don't want to answer, that's fine. You can move on. You just know that that's who's not for you in this season, right? But the questions filter. If you don't get an answer from them, they filter. They kind of self-answer themselves, okay? But we have to do this because ultimately we must invest for the future. We must be forward thinking. Going back to that first master key, start with the end in mind. What is our end game? We have to keep that at the forefront all of the time. And one thing I really want to say here is when it comes to money, when it comes to pricing, when it comes to affordability, too many of us think we can't afford it today. It's too much today. Oh, I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. We always look at what we don't have today. We think we can't afford it now, but I'm here to tell you, if we think we can't afford it now, we will be less likely and able to afford it in the future, because everything costs, and everything costs more later. I see this with clients all of the time, okay? One example, and it doesn't matter what area of law, okay? It's a principle. It will translate in different scenarios. So one example, I remember a couple of years ago, consulted with someone who was leasing to a tenant, thought they didn't have the money when they got sued by the tenant to get a lawyer to go to court. and never showed up, never made any appearances, never filed anything on their defense. And they got what's called a default judgment, means pretty much an automatic judgment. And that was for the amount of $10,000. So, okay, maybe you saved $0, right? You saved all your money up front because you didn't consult a lawyer. You didn't try to get some kind of legal counsel. On the back end, it cost you an automatic $10,000. Automatic. Because you didn't negotiate with a lawyer to try to work out some deal. You didn't want to put something up front. So you're going to get it on the back end. And we see that all the time. We see that just in regular everyday life. Inflation is going up. Stuff costs more. Groceries are ridiculous, right? Everything is rising. So the more you put it off, think you can't afford it now, the more you're going to have to save up to try to afford it in the future, okay? It's going to be harder. So just keep these realities in mind. Affordability is a matter of its sacrifice and its value, and it is what is really worth it to you. It's about worth. Okay, and then when we put our master keys in mind, starting with the end in mind and pushing through pain to get to our prosperity, what is it worth to realize these goals, these visions, these dreams? What is it worth to us? Are we going to be willing to pay that price? Because it will cost. The question is not how much it will cost. It's always going to be a matter of when. When are you going to pay? You're going to pay something no matter what. So you're going to pay now or you're going to pay later. And this is worth it to you. So really think deeply about these issues. Like I said, it's less than 30 days now left of December of 2023. This year has gone by so fast, and it's going to continue to move. So we have to move with it. And we have to move quicker than it. How can we do that? By being forward thinking, right? Thinking end of January 2024, right now and beginning of December. And we'll keep up. We'll keep up because we already have that plan in motion. All right. So I just wanted to leave you with that. I had this in my heart and my mind to share it. I hope it's helpful. If it is, please do go to our YouTube channel. You can find more videos on some of these subjects there. You can also subscribe to us on all social media. We're on Instagram, on TikTok. You can look for me, Tina M. Patterson, ESQ, on Instagram and TikTok. You can look for Patterson Justice on YouTube and Instagram. And also, if you're interested and if you are really serious about more of these kinds of questions and putting something together, your vision for the end in mind, I am hosting a masterclass next week, starting December the 11th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is called Secure Your Legacy. Okay, and we're going to be pondering on a lot of these issues, breaking them down even further. And we are going to be getting into the legal tools we can use to help manifest these visions, all right? Because the vision is important, the idea is important, but the action and the strategy is also important. And I always start with vision and ideation and imagination first, because it's worth the most. One mistake I see is too many people really try to do the things without knowing why they're doing it and without knowing where they're going with it. Okay, so that's why you don't see me teach a lot upfront on just, hey, you know, legal clause here, will here, trust, contract. Let's get into why you're doing all that, and then we can put those tools together. Okay, when you build a house, you don't go get the tools first. You put the concept in mind first, right? You sketch out what you want to see first. You put it on paper first, all right? And then you go get what you need to do it. So that's kind of my philosophy in sharing these kinds of issues as well. But again, Secure Your Legacy Masterclass is going to be all week long. It's going to start Monday, December 11th at 11 a.m. Going to end around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There are 2 levels. Our general is going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at that time. And then we have a VIP experience, which is also going to be an extra day on Friday. And if you are interested, you can go to pattersonjustice.com/SYL Masterclass. And I'll also be sure to include the link with this video. Okay, so again, I'm Tina Patterson. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this has inspired you. I hope this has caused you to think about things a little bit more deeply, and not to scare you, but to deeply stir you into the dream, the vision, the passion of manifesting what it is, what you want in life, but also what you want for others beyond your own life. All right. So I hope it helps. Take care.